Okay, here we have a 2003 to 2004 Galaxy model 4733. Had this for quite a few years. Got it at a flea market years ago when I used to do that with my mom and her boyfriend. We used to travel around the flea markets and set up and sell stuff. I used to go looking for fans a lot back then. I'd go and look around the flea market, see what I could get, and usually I'd find some interesting stuff. And this was one of those things. When I got it, I think I bought it off some guy that was selling a bunch of just random junk, and this was there. I grabbed it. I asked him how much. He said, I don't know, like $3. It was really cheap. The fan itself was originally pretty rusty and dirty. It had hay in the bottom of it. Someone used it in a barn, I guess. But I cleaned it up. I repainted it because it was rusty and looked like crap. And yeah, that's pretty much the story on this one. But yeah, the reason I pulled this out was because I just watched Jordan Utter's video on the two he just picked up. I really like these fans. I consider him one of the very, very, very last of the, decent box fans. Granted, Lasco's been doing better lately, but this will always be the end of the era for me. I remember seeing these a lot as a kid, and I even bought one when I was a kid. I went to Walmart and picked one up, and I used it for a little while, and then I traded it to a friend for an Edison Thin and Light. So yeah, these are kind of childhood fans. I've always kind of liked them, in a way. They may not be anything spectacular or great to most people, but I've always considered them decent fans. And it was the return of the Galaxy name, because before this, it was just Lasco for about 5 years. Because from about 95 to 2000, they got rid of Galaxy for some reason. And then later they brought them back. And this is what they made. They made these fans. And I believe they made the pedestal fans and a few other things. It's just a subsidiary of Lasco, but it's pretty much, they had the two brands, the Galaxy and Lasco. But yeah. Excuse me. Anyway. Take a look at the fan. It's got the deeper blade pitch. As you can see, it's got more room to scoop up the air. Fucking hell. And as time went on, I think after 04, they kind of redesigned the blade, the motor, and the back grill all got kind of a redesign. And, well, they went to the cheaper motor after this style. Yeah. So we'll take a look at the motor since we're talking about the motor. This is the motor this one has. This one has one of the quote-unquote recalled motors. A friend of mine has one of these that I gave him. His is a Lasco. He gave that to him because I didn't want it, really. I picked it up because it was cheap and it was one of the earlier ones. But I ended up not wanting to keep it, so I gave it to him to use it as camper in the summertime. And he's been using it ever since. Well, this is the earlier style with the quote-unquote recalled motor. I've never really had issues with them, and my friend that uses that Lasco I talked about, he uses that thing constantly with no issues at all. So I don't know what the deal is. I would imagine someone let the fan motor get clogged up to a point where it was overheating, and the motor probably overheated and caught fire. It's just, I would imagine that's how that whole recall started. Or people were using them in barns, which they shouldn't be doing, but, you know, there's that. It's got a bunch of blade fans to keep the motor cool. 2 feet that don't exactly go to this fan. I did add a fused cord to this one because when I tore it all apart to repaint it, I figured I'd do that. Just for the heck of it, put a newer handle on it. I believe the original one was broke or yellowed real bad. The knob, I believe, might be original. I know it's the same style. And the bottom here. See, that's the original paint right there. That's the repaint. If you can kind of see the difference. See, it's very hard to tell. It says 04 here. It would say 2003 to 04, but it's very, very lightly stamped. You can't even read the UL sticker there. And it does have the stand holes still, which they kept until at least 06 when they changed over to the more rounded ones. Come on, cord. God damn it. Hold on. Alright, I had to catch the foot because it flew off into the stairway and had to, yeah. Bunch of bullcrap, basically. But anyway, so without further ado, here is high. It's gonna stay this time. And like, moves good air in high. Pretty good air mover, really. Compare this to the new equivalent. This one definitely beats out the new stuff. Go to medium. These are honestly some of the last good air movers in my opinion. I'm not sure what Wasco did from this one to the, smaller motor ones. Well, this is a smaller motor one technically, but the motor that came after this really had nothing on this one. This is probably the last of the good Lascos. Last of the good Galaxy Lasco fans. Especially the cheaper models like this one. Because from this, the next year onward, it's kind of like, it went downhill quite a bit. But this is definitely one of the last of the decent ones. Go back to high. And off. But yeah, this is definitely one of the last of the good box fans. I mean, sure the motor is cheap and everything, and sure they had recalls, but they still had good air movement, and they were, decently built. I mean, they're not as good as, Lakewood Kmart K223, but, for what it was in the era it was in, this was definitely one of the last of the good air movers. Because after this, it all went downhill. And yeah, for both Lakewood and Lasco, honestly. So yeah, there's that one. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.